Well, coming up on My Retirement Clarity, we're going to bring some questions that have been popping up a lot around the office at J.L. Perkins Wealth Management. Figured it'd be a great opportunity to bring some of those onto the show, answer them here. So let's treat this as some FAQs from the office. We'll get that started next.
Welcome to the My Retirement Clarity Podcast, where our goal is simple, to help you close the gap between what you know and what you implement. The team at J.L. Perkins Wealth Management does this by helping good people make great decisions so they can enjoy an amazing retirement. And now, here's your host and financial advisor, Lee Perkins.
Welcome in. Glad to have you, Ben George, with Lee Perkins, owner and financial advisor at J.L. Perkins Wealth Management there in beautiful Macon, Georgia. Find them online, myretirementclarity.com. Lee, I like this episode. I think we've done this recently, but really great opportunity. I know you've been getting a lot of questions, and you get a lot of the same questions from people that come in and meet with you guys, but great opportunity here to kind of bring those here and expand on them a little bit and help out some other people that might be thinking the same thing.
Yeah, so these are questions that we don't just hear in our conference room when we're meeting with prospects of our firm. These are questions that we hear from our clients all the time. And so I thought it would be great for us to just discuss here today. It might be some reassurance or just kind of restating some things that other people have heard. But yeah, these are very common. They're not going away. And my guess is that in 5 years, we will still have people with these same questions and concerns because they will be at the stage of life where they will be facing these same questions.
All right, so we'll jump into that. Remember, you can always schedule a meeting with Lee. If you have questions that you want to ask directly, talkwithjlp.com is the place to go. All right, let's start with this one, Lee. I'm thinking about putting in a swimming pool, or maybe I should say that my wife and daughter are campaigning very hard for a swimming pool. I question whether or not it's a wise investment because I don't think it would actually increase the value of the home by the amount it would take to install it. But if I do it, should I just take out a home equity loan to pay for it? What do you think?
All right, so this question comes in from Pam Perkins, my wife. No, it doesn't really, but my wife and daughter have posed this scenario to me, as have a lot of people. Some men, and it's usually kind of the same thing, that the female is kind of pushing hard for it. The male will resist as long as they can, and ultimately, some people wind up giving up. Giving in. We live on a river, and I tell Pam, there's a swimming pool of water going by every day, and you can just watch it going by. So to this point, I've been able to fend that off, but who knows? I'll try to keep the fight as long as I can. A couple things there. He asked the question, is it a wise investment? I'm not sure it's a wise investment or not. Well, to me, a pool is not an investment. I've rarely, if ever, seen a pool increase the value of a home. So it's certainly not an investment. Can it be an amenity that you enjoy for a while? Absolutely. Will that be a pro or a con for somebody that might one day buy your house? I don't know. Years ago, I talked to somebody who did pools for a living, and they told me that they cover up as many pools in a year as they build. Sometimes there's a shelf life on them. So I wouldn't look at it from an investment standpoint. Look at it from a use standpoint. The reason I don't want a pool is because I'm 56 years old and I don't want a job. I don't want to come home every day and scoop leaves out of the pool. I don't necessarily want to pay a service to come and do the things that I don't want to do. As I get older, I may not be able to do. Also, we're empty nesters now. Our kids are still coming back home for summers and things like that while they're in college, but at some point they will be out on their own. And so will they come back and bring their kids to our house? Well, my parents have a pool, and I can tell you in the last 5 years, I've been to their house I've been to the house a lot, but I've been in their pool maybe one time. My kids have been in their pool in the last 5 years probably. Well, I won't say last 5 years, last 3 years, probably 4 times. So Is it a great decision? I don't know. You just have to figure it out. And then the last part, they said, should I take out a home equity loan to pay for it? That's completely up to you. Equity loans of credit, just look at the interest rates right now. They're not great. So that's a decision that you'll have to make on whether you pay for it up front or you finance it via HELOC.
Yeah, some options there. But again, you want to kind of work that out with an advisor. Just make sure you have a plan going forward for how to pay for it. But yeah, it's a great thing to possibly have, but yeah, a lot of expenses that come with it, and maintenance and upkeep and all that. So a lot to consider there, but good question. All right, what about this one, Lee? Help me out here. I feel like the stock market is due for a correction, so I'd like to move some money out of stocks, but I don't know about the strength of things like bonds, cash, gold, and things like that. So where should I put my money right now if I'm scared of a market drop? Well, I'm guessing a lot of people are feeling this way, right, Lee? They're a little anxious about where the market is.
Yeah, and we kind of go back to the last show that we did where people or somebody was talking about behavior and decisions on all that. The stock market, at any time in history, there's always a time where you could say, man, the stock market is due for a correction. A crash is coming. It's been lurking. I've been hearing this for a long time now, like 15 years.
Yeah.
Kind of take out the COVID crash because it was such a short time period. 2022, the market was down a little bit, but I think people are worried sometimes about a market drop or just because of what they hear in the news, what they hear in the media. We're in a very politically divided time in our country. I don't know that that's ever going to get better. So if you're looking for a reason to not invest and not have money in the stock market because you think a crash is coming, I'm not going to change your mind. This person asked about the strength of things like bonds, cash, gold, or any kind of alternatives like that. They all have their pros and they all have their cons. If you have too much money in cash, inflation can sort of tackle you from behind. Gold, as much as people like to think that that's a very stable investment, it's speculative, as is silver, as is anything like that. So we always encourage people, let's try not to guess what the stock market's going to be. And that's why I have a crystal ball in the conference room. It is a non-working crystal ball. I don't know what's going to happen. The market is going to go up and it's going to go down. It has done it forever and it's going to continue to do that forever. But if you invest in a way that can keep you sane during up markets and down markets, then you can tune out all the noise and just say, it's going to be fine. And that's what we try to do to our clients. We want to take the worry out and let them know that they're going to be okay. Hey folks, Lee Perkins here. I wanted to tell you about our brand new book called Next Phase, How to Retire in a Year or Less Without Regrets. It's all about helping you prepare for the next phase of your life, whatever that looks like for you. So, if you're ready to make the most of your next phase, or if you're already retired and aren't sure you're doing all you can to get the most out of your retirement, then you'll want a copy of this book. All you have to do is text Next Phase to 478-475-2050 and we'll send you a copy right away. You can also access additional resources and register for one of our upcoming workshops at our website, www.myretirementclarity.com. Thanks for listening. Now back to the show.
All right, a lot of questions around Social Security as well, Lee. I know this one came up recently. I started taking my Social Security as soon as I turned 62, which was 2 years ago. Was that a mistake? Should I have waited? So how do you approach this conversation about Social Security timing?
All right, so if somebody asked me this question, I took it 2 years ago, was that a mistake? Should I have waited? My answer to them would be, it doesn't matter. Just don't worry about it. It doesn't matter one bit. Now, if we go back 2 years and say, all right, now what are our plans? Should we take it now or should we delay? Well, then we would do a proper analysis, which is considering all the options and all the other things that come into play, because you can't just make your Social Security decision in a vacuum. And far too often people do that. The reason somebody took it at 62 may be exactly why they took it at 62. And for their best friend, it might make sense for them to take it at 65 or 66. So it just depends. So we can't put everything into a vacuum. So yeah, if you already took it, don't worry about if you made the right decision or not, because that decision's made. But taking it early versus taking it later, there is a break-even point. Early on in my career, I would have tended to have you delay it so you can get more benefit over your lifetime. But what I've seen is people passing away earlier than they had sort of planned, and they never broke even, or maybe they only got to take Social Security for a couple of years. So I like you to take Social Security when it can have the most positive impact in your situation early on while you're young enough and healthy enough to enjoy it. That's kind of my stance.
Yeah. Yeah, have a plan ahead of time for Social Security. So very important. All right, another one, Lee, with investments here. I don't like my 401k investment options, but my company says I'm not eligible to roll the money to an outside account. But I hear people talking all the time, including on your show, about rolling over your 401k to an IRA. So how does this work?
So it does vary from company to company. For the most part, once you are 59 and a half, you have the option. Now, this is if you're still working, you have the option to roll your 401k into an IRA that you control, and you can do whatever you want with the money. You can still contribute, still get whatever kind of match that you can get. But if your company is telling you that you're not eligible to do that, then they could have something written in their plan that doesn't allow you to roll that money out until you actually are retired or you separate service. And so we ran across this recently, probably within the last 3 or 4 weeks. It doesn't happen all the time because now these plans are set up a little bit more, try to give the participants a little more flexibility. And every once in a while, you'll have a company that may allow you to roll your 401k into an IRA before the age of 59 and a half. There are a few companies that will allow that. So if your company is not one of those that will allow for a pre-retirement withdrawal, then you may just be stuck. But no, it definitely can be done. So I'd love to chat with anybody who may be in this situation. So just give me a call and we can talk through how this can work for you.
Yeah, it's 478-254-3550 or log on to talkwithjlp.com. All right, last one here, Lee. My mom and dad both needed nursing home care in their later years, so I'm really worried about needing it myself. I'm 63 and long-term care insurance seems really expensive at this age, but should I just go ahead and get it for peace of mind if nothing else?
Absolutely. If you've seen the people that we see that are the most concerned about long-term care insurance for themselves or having a plan for long-term care is somebody who's experienced that with a loved one, and that's exactly what happens for a lot of people. They want to address the issue earlier. You want to do it earlier rather than later, and there's a couple different ways to do it. Obviously, you can purchase a traditional long-term care insurance. Is it expensive? It can be, but the alternative is really expensive if you don't have something in place and you have to pay for it out of your own pocket. It can be anywhere $3,500, $4,000 a month on up to $8,000 or $9,000 for traditional long-term care. Or if you need some type of skilled care facility, it can be over $10,000, $12,000. So I think it's a better plan to have an insurance company pay for that. A lot of different ways to do that. You can buy a traditional insurance policy. You can use a traditional long-term care policy. You can buy a life insurance policy that has accelerated benefits that you can use for long-term care, or you can do something that's becoming more popular. We use it all the time with our clients, and that's called asset-based long-term care, where you can actually just carve off some of your money, put it in a separate account that you still have and you control, and that provides you a hedge against long-term care. So yes, don't wait until you're way too old to do it. I think earlier is better.
All right, very good. These are some great questions, ones that Lee has been addressing recently from people that he's been talking to in the office at J.L. Perkins Wealth Management. If you have questions for him, again, talkwithjlp.com. You schedule a meeting there, begin having those conversations, whatever is on your mind, right? Specifically, anything you're curious about, questions, concerns you have, begin that planning process with Lee there. And also take advantage of the book, Next Phase book. You just text Next Phase to 478-475-2050. And again, you address a lot of things like this, Lee. That's part of that next phase conversation, right? Social Security, investing, long-term care, all these things.
Yeah, we touch on all those in the book. It's probably takes somebody an hour and a half, 2 hours to read the book. Really high-level information, but it lets you start thinking about the things that really matter and the things that you should address before you make a big decision. So you can get a copy of that. Just text Next Phase to 478-475-2050, and we will send you a copy.
All right, very good. We'll have to do this again, Lee. I think it's good to kind of address a lot of these different scenarios and questions. I think it's very helpful. So thanks for bringing this on, and appreciate you listening to My Retirement Clarity. If you haven't subscribed to the show, we'd appreciate that support as well. Would love to hear from you. Lee, have a great week. Appreciate the time.
All right, thanks, Ben. Take care. Hey there, Lee Perkins here. If you're like a lot of folks, you've been listening to this podcast for a long time now. But I've got an important question for you. Have you implemented any of the ideas that we've discussed on the show? If you haven't, what are you waiting on? You know you're not getting any younger. So here's my challenge. Don't just consume the content. Our number one goal for this podcast is to help you close the gap between what you know and what you implement. So if you're ready to implement, take that first step today and visit www.talkwithjlp.com and schedule a 15-minute phone call with one of our advisors, and we'll help you close the gap between what you know and what you implement so you can enjoy the next phase of your life. Now is your time. Don't procrastinate any longer.
Investment advisory services are offered by J.L. Perkins Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor and insurance agency. Information is for illustrative purposes only and does not constitute tax, legal, or investment advice. Always consult with a qualified tax, legal, or investment professional before taking any action.